Show me that smile again.
Show me that smile.
Don't waste another minute on your crying.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Come here for a minute. I want to talk to you. Mama says you're brain dead. Bang your head against the wall. Can't find peace of mind. Brain needs an overhaul. Bonehead, brain dead. We're all the same. You can't think straight when your heart is in pain. Turn around, hit the ground. Time to lay a burden down.
The views expressed on this broadcast of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show are those of the co-host and guest and do not necessarily reflect those of our affiliates. The topics and opinions on today's show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice. Take 12 Radio is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. And now, here's your host,
The man.
That's right.
The myth.
That's right.
The legend.
the Monty'man.
Telling you the truth, man. I
Ain't gonna lie to you. We're all about the truth here. We're all the same. Saved by grace is the name of the game.
turn around, hit the ground.
Time to lay your burden down. Put it down, baby. Put it down. Down. Downtown Charlie Brown. Welcome to the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show.
Wow.
Too much coffee. Too much coffee.
Roll back.
Cupcakes and coffee.
Had a bang. Had a coffee.
Had a what?
A bang.
Oh, Lord.
A bang.
Later. Later.
Yeah, it's another show.
Christy, help
They
us.
apparently affect him more than they do.
Okay, Tony's here.
Hi.
Marv's here.
Yeah, you been into the moon pies?
We still have some.
Oh, okay. Let me try one on air.
You
Now
can
that
try
I
one.
feel
Okay,
better.
Tony,
Yeah.
Denver's here too, by the way.
Good morning.
Oh, yeah, good morning,
I'm
Denver.
anxiously awaiting
Okay.
moon
I
pie.
said I would do it the last time, but I was not
Tony
feeling
is
that
going to
greatest.
try a moon
Do you-
pie.
Do you have coffee? Do you have coffee?
I have coffee.
All right.
Oh, my God.
You're going to
help
want
us
something
all.
to swig that down
Oh,
with.
good God.
Moon pie time.
They're hard.
Right.
No, they're not hard. They're soft
They're
and
hard.
mushy.
They've been on the shelf for years. Of course they're hard.
Okay, take a bite. Take a big bite.
Oh,
Oh, she spit it out.
Oh.
Yay!
there's nothing good about this at all.
You know what? As a kid, they were
Here,
okay.
hand it to me.
I think we paid like 3 cents a piece. And nickel
I
for
see
'em
why
or
now.
something. But
Because it probably takes 1 cent to make
it
one.
just one of those
Oh,
things.
my
as a
God. You
kid.
can't even
It's
do
sawdust and marshmallow with a waxy coating.
it. Basically, yes.
And that's what
Oh,
a
my
moon
God.
pie is. Well, welcome to the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. This week's topic, at least we're going to start out, we're probably going to have to stretch this past next week. But this, past next week, because next week got a special show. But this week's topic is Step 4 Revealed. Step 4 Revealed. And Step 4, of course, is made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And so we're going to be talking about that, at least launching forth in that. But we had a bunch of stuff to talk about before that. So the beginning of the show, of course, we had a soundbite for this week. So last week's soundbite winner, what was the name of the show last week? Last
It
week,
was
week
like
before
2
last.
weeks ago. I don't remember.
Yeah. You remember?
No.
You remember?
No.
No. I've been in Arizona.
Yeah, it was Archie Bunker, All in the
That's
Family.
right.
Oh, yeah. Meathead.
Gene Stapleton and
Suzanne Summers.
Suzanne's not
Suzanne's
Summers.
that's Three's Company.
What's her name?
The Alice one, that sounds really weird. I looked it up on YouTube.
I don't know. She was a troublemaker, right?
Yeah, and then what's his name? What's his name? Who's a big producer now?
I thought the son died.
No, the son's alive. No, he's
Or is
very,
it the
very.
You
son-in-law?
actually watched that show before?
No, I watched it on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. It was...
Carl Reiner.
It would
Rob Reiner. Carl Reiner is dead. Carl Reiner played played the boss in the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Oh, Lord.
And his son, Rob Reiner, is a huge producer and director, and he played Meathead in All in the Family.
Meathead. Totally politically
Which one was
wrong.
Meathead?
The son-in-law.
Yeah.
Oh, is he dead?
No, he's alive.
I'm more YouTube.
I just said
No more moon pie for you.
no more moon pie for you. No. Okay. So the winner of that is Donald Roberts from Sweet Home, who guessed All in the Family.
Way to go, Sweet Home. Way to go, Sweet Home.
Yeah, Sweet Home, Oregon.
Sweet Home's now on the map.
Sweet Home. Sweet Home. Sweet Home. So congratulations, Donald. Now let me remind you, listeners, you not only have to guess the name of the show, you also have to guess the secret soundbite clue that is given somewhere in the show. You can't just guess the name of the show and win. Okay?
Oh.
There you go.
Meathead. Sweet Home.
So we're going to give you a clue. We're going to give you a clue that goes with that soundbite. Here's that soundbite again. You ready?
Hell yeah.
Well, let's see. Let's give a little introduction here. It's time to play Guess That Soundbite. That's right. Soundbite. All right, here it is. Here it is. 3, 2, 1. Here it is.
Show me that smile again.
Show me that smile.
Don't waste another minute on your crying.
Okay, so you have to guess the name of the TV show, the sitcom that's from, and the secret clue, which I'm going to give you later on in the show. Toni already knows, right?
I think I know what the secret clue is, too.
You do.
I
Wow.
think so.
Moon
I'm
pie-
almost
moon
that.
pie knowledge.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Moon pie knowledge. All right, so the first email that I receive at take12radio@comcast.net, that's TAKE, the number 12, radio@comcast.net, will receive it's a $25 value. We have them for sale on our website. The Walking Through the Big Book series with Chris Schroeder and myself, a comprehensive workshop. 34 one-hour workshops on this audio DVD on the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You're also going to receive the CD Songs and Recovery from Songs and Recovery recording artists. And you're going to get a book by Mike D called Basic Prayer and Simple Meditation. A recovering alcoholic talks about beginning spirituality.
Wait,
So
is
we're
that
getting-
new?
That's new. So I see every week I add something to
I
the
know. I'm
package.
getting jealous. I want all of
Yes,
them.
you see how I worked that?
Just because
The
we're on the
kitty.
air, it doesn't mean we get these.
No, you can't get these.
Yeah, we can't
because
get
you're
them.
affiliated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but you can buy them. So every week I add a little something to the pot, make it a little
thought so.
sweeter.
That was awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's what you'll get. So be the first person to email me. You'll be amazed at the amount of people who go, "Oh, I know that," and then they don't email.
No.
You know, you don't have to pay postage. You don't have to pay freight. You don't have to pay attention. All you got to
Well,
do
no, you do.
Please play.
is guess.
Please play.
Please play.
And next week is a moon pie.
Yeah, we'll send you a moon pie. Oh. I don't know if the post office would allow that. It'd be
Well, that's
considered
forever.
sending toxic chemicals in there. Okay, so here's something very interesting that I wanted to share with you guys. It's disgusting, actually.
Oh, excellent.
But you need to know about it. You need to know about it. Now, you know,
course.
we're a Christian-owned and operated recovery radio station. It doesn't mean that everything we talk about is necessarily, you know, about Jesus. In fact, next week, we're going to have a special guest join us in the studio. Her name's Sharon, and she's going to be talking about the Red Road and the Native American kind of version of recovery and the 12 steps and associated with meetings and that kind of thing. And she's going to be sharing her experience, strength, and hope on how that all works. So we're excited to have her on to share that as well.
Cool.
But this is about a Christian-owned this article is about a Christian-owned program. Now, please don't misunderstand. There are bad apples in every organization, every religion, every faith, every doctrine. There are bad apples. And here's one. Drug recovery centers use defendants as forced labor. Check this out. Judges across the country are ordering defendants into recovery centers that are little more than work camps for private industry. An investigation by Reveal, by the way, from the Center for Investigative Reporting has found, the programs promise freedom from addiction. Instead, they've turned thousands of men and women into servants, exploiting a nationwide push to keep non-violent offenders out of prison. The rehabs send defendants to companies large and small, a Coca-Cola bottling plant in Oklahoma, a construction firm in Alabama, a nursing home in North Carolina. The rehabs get paid. The participants do not. Perhaps no rehab better exemplifies the allegiance to big business than Christian Alcoholics and Addicts in Recovery, also known as CAIR, C-A-A-I-R, in the northeastern corner of Oklahoma. It was started in 2007 by chicken company executives struggling to find workers by forming a Christian rehab that could supply processing plants with a cheap and captive labor force while helping men overcome their addictions. The defendants work in grueling conditions at chicken plants owned by Simmons Foods, Inc., a company with annual revenues of $1.4 billion. They work alongside paid employees, crunching out chicken products and pet food for some of America's largest retailers and restaurants, including Walmart, KFC, and PetSmart. Reveal interviewed scores of former participants and employees, court officials, and judges, and reviewed hundreds of pages of court filings and workers' compensation records. Among the findings, the program may violate the 13th Amendment, which bans slavery and allows forced labor only for people convicted of a crime. So people convicted of a crime can be put into forced labor. We know that because there's labor camps in certain prisons.
Right. Chain gangs.
Right. Many men sent to CAAIR CARE have not yet been convicted and later have their cases dismissed. Quote, "You've got to be kidding me," end quote, said Noah Zatz, a professor specializing in labor law at UCLA. That's a very strong 13th Amendment violation. The authors of Oklahoma's drug court law believe it is illegal for judges to send defendants to CARE. The law requires drug courts to use programs that are certified by the state. CARE is not. Rather than professional addiction treatment, the program mainly relies on faith and work. That is insane. That's insanity gone to sea, said former state senator Dick Wilkinson, who wrote the law. That's illegal. They can't do that. That is the law, and it has to be followed. CARE administrators use the threat of prison to push defendants to work, even when they are injured. So in other words, what they're saying is, if you don't comply, then we'll report you to your PO, and then you'll go back to jail. Men who were hurt on the job have been kicked out of CARE and sent to prison. They work you to death, said Nate Turner, who spent a year at CARE. They know people are desperate to get out of jail, and they'll do whatever they can do to stay out of prison. CARE routinely files workers' comp claims on defendants' behalf and collects the payments. By law, those payments are required to go to the injured worker. That's fraudulent behavior, said Eddie Walker, a former judge with the Arkansas Workers' Compensation Commission. What's being done is clearly inappropriate. Courts across Oklahoma and neighboring states send about 280 men to CARE each year. Some men say it changed their lives, but few ultimately finish. In 2014, 26% completed the program. Instead of paychecks, they get bunk beds, meals, and Alcoholics.
Are you kidding me?
Meals and Alcoholics and Narcotics Anonymous meetings. They can meet with a counselor or attend classes on anger management and parenting. Weekly Bible study is mandatory. So is church. But the priority is clear to former employees and participants. Work overshadows everything else. Money is the obstacle for so many of these men, said Janet Wilkerson, CARE's foundation and CEO. We're not going to charge them to come here, but they're going to have to work. That's a part of recovery, getting up like you and I do every day and going to a job. Wilkinson's also put the men to work for her own needs. They remodeled her home and helped her daughter move. She called it community service.
Of course.
Jim Lovell, CARE's vice president of program management, said their dignity is in their work. If working 40 hours a week is a slave camp, then all of America is a slave camp, he said. Do you believe this garbage? Chicken plants are notoriously dangerous, and men in the care program said injuries were common at Simmons. Their hands became gnarled after days hanging thousands of chickens from metal shackles. One man said he was burned with acid while hosing down a trailer. Others were maimed by machines or contracted serious bacterial infections. Many drug courts use CARE because there is a shortage of affordable treatment programs. Defendants can wait up to 9 months to get into a residential program. At CARE, there's no wait list, and it doesn't cost the state of Oklahoma 1 penny. Brandon Spurgeon was struggling with a meth addiction when the Stevens County Court sent him to CARE in 2014. He was working at the chicken plant one night when a metal door crushed down and split his head open. Even though he was in severe pain and had a dozen staples in his head, Spurgeon had to keep working. If he didn't, CARE would contact his PO and kick him out, and he would be sentenced to 15 years in prison. 3 years later, Spurgeon has graduated from drug court, but is in chronic pain and unable to work full time. CARE filed for workers' compensation on his behalf and took the $4,500 in insurance payments. Spurgeon said he got nothing. Over the years, Simmons repeatedly had laid off employees while expanding its use of CARE. For some shifts, the plants likely would shut down if men in the program didn't show up, according to the former staff members and plant supervisors. Simmons spokesman Donnie Epp said, "Company doesn't need CARE to fill their labor shortage. It's about building relationships with our community and supporting the opportunity to help people become productive citizens."
Wow.
Okay, hold on. Who's in charge of this program?
Well, it's the CARE.
Who's the CEO?
Janet Wilkerson is the CEO.
That is such a wrong deal. I am sorry.
Well, unfortunately, this is not uncommon.
It's sad. It's sickening, and it literally made my stomach turn.
Yeah.
You made a comment in there
Good
that
God.
I caught, and I found that up at the recovery thing that we did up in Portland, was that waiting lists to get into recovery programs are sometimes 9 months, 6 months, whatever, to get in. That's the problem we're having everywhere.
Yeah.
People that are seeking help
But
are
that doesn't
not
make it
getting
right.
help. No. That's totally aside from what they're doing here. That's a labor camp.
How can anybody even think
but
that's even reasonable?
But that's one of the big barriers is that recovery programs
Yeah, so out of
are
desperation, people are jumping into these things.
Yeah.
Because
That's
there's no
almost
cost.
extortion.
It is. Well, okay, so my take on this, if you have a recovery center, I don't care if it's outpatient or inpatient or in-house
Do
or
it.
whatever it is.
That is wrong.
But if you have that and you are depending on the clients to fund your ministry or program, that is unethical, it is illegal, and you should be shut down.
And Janet, shame on you. I'm sorry, that pissed me off.
And it should.
It like literally, I'm so angry about that. Because there's so many other ways, and for their POs to even accept that,
Right.
like shame on them.
And to
Like,
do,
what
and
is that
do it
about?
in the name of Jesus. That's what
Right?
makes me sick. That's what
Yeah.
makes me sick. And
I'm pissed.
And the area that they're working in is obviously dangerous.
Well, in Oklahoma, what is wrong with you?
So you just need,
I'm angry.
when we
I'm like
see,
literally shaking right now.
when we see something like this, we need to report it. We need to let people know. So have a cupcake.
That
Have a moon pie.
it's the Italian in me coming out. That is wrong, and it
Well,
should be shut down.
One of the things that we've learned about anger is that anger is not bad. One of the gifts of anger is it's the way we respond to it.
Yeah.
And so when you are angry about something, it's because you have a sense of justice.
It causes change.
If I can spend, and not everybody can spend the money on it, but
Well, it's being brought to light, so.
Yeah.
well, I hope it gets shut down after this show. I'm seriously
Well,
hoping
and
does.
it's all over the news,
Yeah.
and
It's wrong.
It's in the
though.
works.
It doesn't.
this actually came out in the Albany Democrat Herald on
Good for them.
October 5th.
Good.
So any organization that, again, I'm just going to say it again, if you are depending on your clients to I'm not talking about insurance, and I'm not talking about your clients paying for their treatment. They need to pay for their treatment. There's got to be a way to do that. But if you're sending them to labor camps, you're collecting their workman's compensation.
I'm
That's
sorry.
wrong. That's wrong.
Angered me. I really do need a cupcake.
She's eating your cupcake.
There you are.
I've never ever
Marv, how
heard
you
about
doing over
that.
there? You need a
How you doing over
cupcake.
there,
I've
Marv?
never heard about that before, and I think it's wrong. And Janet and Oklahoma, shame on you. Shame on you. Shut them down.
Shut them down, baby.
Shut them down.
I don't get mad at all. I've never. I think this is the first time on the show I've been angry. That pissed me off.
Tony is
I
pissed.
see that. I see that.
Tony is
I see the
pissed.
fire in your eyes.
I'm gonna eat a cupcake.
Stop right there. It's time for Monty'man's Weekly Whine.
There's the baby.
Yes, it is time for my weekly whine. And people are going, well, didn't you just whine about something? No, I was bringing some information to light
I
about
did.
CAAIR. So do yourself a favor. If you're going to go into treatment, investigate.
Yes.
Investigate. Don't take somebody's word for it. Don't go to a fundraising dinner or event and believe everything you hear. Look into it yourself. Don't just read a pamphlet. Look into it yourself.
Most of these people, Monty, aren't capable of looking into it themselves.
No, but I'm talking about parents.
That's part of the criminality of what,
You're right.
what you brought to light.
Right. You are correct. You are correct. And so if you are capable of that, or if you're a parent, or if you're a friend, or you're a sponsor, or whatever, just don't say, well, here, go over here. Research it. Interview them. Check it out. Is the place safe? Do they have your best interest at heart? Is it a 12-step model? If it is not at least supportive of a 12-step model, I would run. I'm not
Google
saying
it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Google it.
Google it.
Use your smartphone.
Look up on the Better Business Bureau. Do some investigation. Because
I apologize, Monty. I didn't
No.
mean to get
I
so
understand. I mean, it ticked me off too, and unfortunately, this is not as uncommon as you think. There's been centers like this that have been shut down. There's been wilderness programs that were very harsh that have been closed down because of this stuff. There's a whole group of sober living homes in Florida that are in deep trouble right now. Because of misappropriating money and that kind of thing.
God.
So you've got to be very, very careful. You got to be careful. Recovery is big business for a lot of people. And if money is the focus, like you said, shame on you. Shame on you. So my weekly whine. Okay, the first one, babies on airplanes.
Radical shift in gears, everybody. Hang on for this one.
So Denver and I flew out to Phoenix, Arizona to go to Prescott, Arizona for Hope Fest, which, by the way, was phenomenal. David and Jaylene Long did an amazing program again this year with the help of Celebrate Recovery and Arizona Teen Challenge. Go ahead.
I hope you're going to touch on the 911 calls.
Yes, I am.
Oh my God.
All right.
We'll touch on that here in a
Marv,
minute.
we missed a lot.
But on the way to Hope Fest, in the plane for 2.5 hours, there's a baby sitting behind me. Now, what was worse than the baby was the dad going.
Maybe he needs to meet Janet.
The baby stopped crying, and the dad continued for the whole flight. I wanted to reach back and get his throat out.
I had a silent partner sitting next to me. It was glorious.
Oh, gee. My other weekly whine for this week is when you go to a hotel and it's very expensive. When we're talking $200 a night, and they're serving breakfast in the lobby, and they don't have breakfast meat. Something's wrong. You got to have bacon or sausage, baby. $200 a night. I want my meat.
All right. And on that note, also let me chime in. Plastic silverware.
Yeah, plastic silverware when you're paying $200 a night.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah, you couldn't have cut your meat if you had to.
We
didn't have any.
You
But
try to
We
cut
didn't
your
miss
pancake
anything.
and your fork breaks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to swallow a plastic tine.
No. It was a moment there.
Oh my
for
god,
sure.
I'm not even coming.
We went out to breakfast after that.
Gee whiz. Yeah. So, I would rather have had a continental breakfast, which was a banana and a donut or something, than
No
Banana
sausage.
and a donut, no sausage.
No
breakfast
sausage.
meat. Well, one morning they served sausage. The next morning there's no breakfast meat. What's going on?
Because you're. Oh.
Yeah. I don't.
what'd you
It's a
get for
crime. It's a crime is what it is. Yeah.
I was enjoying coffee in nice warm weather, so.
So let's talk about. So there's the end of the weekly wine. So let's talk about the thing at Hope Fest. So Hope Fest, I think the closing numbers were something like 6,000 to 8,000 people. If everybody was there at one time, it would have been more like 8,000 people. Mm-hmm. Now it was held at the Prescott Courthouse Plaza. Mm-hmm. So the courthouse is right in the middle of this huge park.
Lovely park.
Lovely thing. And it was a very Christ-centered recovery service community event, although there were a lot of booths that had nothing to do with spirituality or Christ, but they were community service organizations. And there was veterans, and there was just a lot of great stuff going on. Well, there was a whole bunch of sirens going off at night, and we didn't know what it was about. And what we found out was 911 was blowing up because people were complaining not about the noise, but the fact that people were mentioning Jesus
Are you kidding me?
Praise the Lord.
Oh, Lord.
on a government courthouse.
Shame
Property.
on you, Prescott.
They were mentioning Jesus, and people got ticked off.
The calls are coming in.
The calls are coming in. The light's
Look at
flashing. The light's flashing.
Lord, that scared the crap
The
out
phone
of me.
light is flashing. Yeah,
Marco's
but
calling.
it's interesing because
They were calling 911.
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
calling
Can you
911
believe that?
because they were mad because people were mentioning the name of Christ
Oh,
publicly.
Seriously?
And yet, that same plaza gives equal time to all organizations.
Oh, my God.
Pro-abortionists, the gay rights movement, women's liberation groups. They believe in equal time in Prescott. Everybody has equal time.
right.
Nobody's complaining about everybody else.
This show's going to drive me nuts today.
I'm like,
We're not going to get to the
so
topic.
Jaylene Long, we may
Down
not.
in Jaylee.
Yeah.
You do.
It's
Jaylene Long was
It'll still be there.
clear, crisp, 100% sound coming across from the courthouse proclaiming the God who is God. Good job, God.
Right?
Yeah.
She didn't see it as a negative. She was like, yes.
People called because of that?
Yes.
Shame on you, Prescott.
Oh, it wasn't Prescott.
It
was
wasn't
just
Prescott.
It was just a few. That whole city was beautiful.
If
and-
you call 911 because somebody says Jesus, that is stupid.
You got issues that I'm
You're
afraid.
a freaking
I'm afraid the steps may
idiot.
not be able to address.
yeah, maybe.
I
Huh?
don't think there's a step for that. It's just called
Hey.
idiocy.
Monty?
Yes.
I just got finished with a new song, and I was
You were doing that right here, right now?
I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and we were touching on this same kind of subject.
Right.
And the last verse in that song that I wrote it goes like this. It says, "Back in the day, we trust in God. Now it's reduced to printing on a buck.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Things seem, look around, things seem the same, but look a little deeper. You might see a change." And that's the kind of stuff right there that's going on in this country
Yeah.
Yeah.
in many, many different facets.
You bet it
And
is.
people are oblivious to it. They're oblivious.
And then they
don't
wonder
care.
why things are so crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what supposedly would they do?
Well,
Like, what are the police supposed to do?
The police told the co-founders that they were not in violation of anything. They had every
But
right
what were
to do
these
what they were
people
doing.
thinking?
They're whining.
They're whining. They need to get a weekly wine show.
Yeah. They need to get their own
What,
show.
what would
That's
they
what I
think that
did.
would happen? Like they're going to shut the place down?
Who knows?
See, I can have a whole show on this.
But it did
Tell me.
cause some commotion, but it's still, we rolled on through
Yeah.
the whole thing.
The extreme could be just as bad as it was in North Carolina. It could be.
It could.
Yes.
Sure.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's
Explosive situations happen from things like that.
Okay, so switching gears a little bit, while we were in Arizona, we stopped at a convenience store and we got some suckers. And we thought we'd give Toni first choice. You want a pink one?
Oh my God.
A white
I want
one?
the pink one.
Do
want
you?
the pink one?
Do you really?
All right. Now, these
Now I'm
suckers are not
scared.
cheap.
You
Should I call 911?
You should be. Yeah.
These suckers,
Give me your phone. Give me your
these
phone.
are $4 a piece.
Okay, the last time I had
Here.
a sucker like that, it was a really, really good one.
Oh,
Like
this is going to be
years
good.
ago.
You're going to love
You're gonna
this.
love this.
Oh my God, what is
Oh
that?
my God. That's not even the good one.
What is that?
Here's one.
No.
Here's a white one.
I'm done.
No, here.
Give her-
Toni.
No, I don't.
Toni.
what happened.
Come on.
Oh.
Come on.
She get electrocuted.
My
or what?
butt!
You signed up. You signed up. Touch it. Go on.
Oh,
It's a tequila
the
worm.
tequila. I know. I used to swallow these.
Would you
Did
give
you really?
would you give Marv the yellow one? Please?
Not doing
The
it.
scorpion? You don't want the scorpion? Okay, listeners, these are suckers that have one's got a
I don't even know what's in the pink one
one's
yet.
got a worm, one's got a cricket, one's
Is
got
that
a
what that
scorpion
is?
inside of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Listen, I forgot yours at the place. It has ants in it. And I'm going, all right, that's
Ask
cool.
James, I do not do bugs.
We saw
At
these.
all.
We saw these in Arizona and said we got to freak Toni out.
Oh my God. No, I do.
You did a good job.
Yeah.
Now the tequila one, this is or the worm. Okay.
Well, see,
Now, I've seen
my
those in
default
Oregon.
that-
you are a recovered
I am.
alcoholic. I like the tequila sucker, even if there's a worm in it.
Yeah. I've seen those in Oregon,
We're
but I
not
hadn't
getting
seen
to
the other
subject
ones.
today. This one is cool. Actually, I'm going to keep this one. Now, the other. Well, unless you guys don't want them, then.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Please.
We're going to take a break. We have one more fun thing to do, and then we're going to try and start this topic. At least we'll launch forth on it. It's going to take a couple weeks to get through it because it is step 4. So don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
Around, hit the ground, time to lay a burden down.
Hey there, it's the Monty'man, CEO of Take 12 Recovery Radio. And with 14 years of podcasting experience, I have to say that for my money and for the highest quality in podcasting software, service, and exposure, no one stands up to Podomatic. Podomatic is home to the world's largest directory of independent podcasters, including DJs, talk shows, educational programs, and the original recovery talk and positive music radio station with yours truly. If you have vital issues to discuss, the world needs to hear your voice. So do what I did and become part of the podcasting family that is Podomatic. Visit www.podomatic.com and start today for free. That's PODOMATIC.com. Podomatic.
In the time it takes to pour your morning coffee, a child is abused. In the time it takes for you to tie your shoes, a child is intentionally injured. In the time it takes to lock your door, a child is neglected. In the time it takes for you to turn on the evening news, a child is forgotten. And in the time it takes for you to get from morning coffee to evening news, 4 of those children have died. Don't wait. Take action. If you know of or even suspect child abuse, please call 1-800-422-4453. That's 1-800-4-A-CHILD. Or go to www.childhelp.org. Counselors are available 24/7. All calls are confidential. Bring hope. Bring an end to child abuse. This message brought to you by the Foundation for the Prevention and Treatment of Child Abuse.
All right. We have returned. We got one more thing to do here before the topic. One more little thing.
Oh, good.
One more little thing.
All right.
One more little thing.
We may touch on the topic.
We may. That's correct, friends. It's time for Take 12 Recovery Radio's Stupid Is as
I love
Stupid
this.
Does News. Alrighty, sponsored by that award-winning recovery magazine, the 12-Step Gazette. Visit their website at 12stepgazette.com. And everybody's got their copy of the 12-Step Gazette
we do.
for this edition. All right, so the first one is, this is stupid criminal stuff. A 50-year-old Florida man was arrested Monday night after police in Palm Bay got reports of a man in a motorized wheelchair blocking traffic.
What can you do?
Nothing funny about that.
Ronnie Scott Hicks.
Oh, Lord, Ronnie.
Has 2 previous DUI convictions.
Oh, now we're getting funny.
It's in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
For driving a wheelchair intoxicated.
The big question is going to be, did Ronnie need the wheelchair?
I don't know.
Besides wheels?
I had a friend, and Richard, if you're listening, please don't take offense. Richard had cerebral palsy, so when he walked, it was a very interesting event. Mm-hmm. And he maneuvered himself actually very well for having cerebral palsy. He was a great guy. He is a great guy. But when he drank, he walked normal.
Oh my
Isn't
God.
that weird?
I am not kidding you. It's like the guy who stutters, but when he sings, he doesn't stutter, kind of thing. When officers arrived at the scene, they allegedly saw Hicks sitting in his wheelchair blocking traffic. Officers said he smelled a lot like alcohol and was slurring his words.
Oh, boy.
Go figure.
I can't find a switch to get...
Oh, boy.
My battery's
battery's
dead. My battery's dead in my chair. So,
Poor man.
yeah, so if you're going to drink, don't drink in wheelchair.
Don't do it.
All right, and
I
here's,
didn't even know you had a DUI.
and here's the other one. This is great. Man attempts to punch a police horse in the face.
What?
Marv,
What did the-
you want to address
Marv?
that?
Marv, what's
You
going
got
on,
your
brother?
Yeah. You don't punch a horse in the face.
Well, a Massachusetts man was arrested for trying to punch a police horse in the face at a street festival, according to Worcester police. The incident occurred on Saturday when police were responding to a disturbance at a beer tent at the street festival in the city, located about 40 miles west of Boston. The man, 59-year-old Donald Pagan, that's an interesting name, tried to walk between a column of police horses when officers asked him to stop. Pagan stepped to the side of the horse and got into an aggressive posture by quickly raising his fist in an attempt to punch the horse in the face. Police said in a statement late Monday, the horse instinctively jumped back and away from the male, which caused a hazard to Mr. Pagan, the officer said, and to the horse. Pagan was charged with assault and battery on a police officer. So, you know, if you
isn't
harm a
a
police
Pagan a
dog,
horse?
they're considered an officer. If you harm a police horse, they're considered an officer. So, don't punch horses in the face.
Marv, how do you feel about this?
It sounds like he didn't actually punch him.
He tried to, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
Horse-
Well,
horse sense.
what people don't realize is up close a horse can't see,
Right, you were saying that. If you're right in front
and
of them.
so
yeah.
it scared the horse, and he jumped backwards.
Good horse.
Yeah, so there's there you go. Okay.
We're all looking at the clock.
We're only there. Are we gonna make it? Okay, but see, here's the thing: recovery should be fun. So what have we done so far today? On this?
Had a few laughs.
We punched a horse.
We
almost punched a baby.
We exposed a corrupt recovery program.
Yeah,
Yes.
we did.
Yes.
We had some laughs.
Freaked Toni out.
Oh God.
We whined about stuff. I did anyway. We gave you a soundbite of a TV show from yesteryear.
right.
And offered a prize, and we talked about stupid criminals. I mean, what more can you ask for in fun and recovery,
Hey, that's
right?
a 4-step right there.
Yeah.
We admitted our faults.
Oh my goodness sake! So step 4 is we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So you know, first of all, in this context, moral means truthful. Mm-hmm. So a searching would probably mean that we're going to be on a search, that the inventory is ongoing.
Correct.
That we are going to discover things as we move forward. We talk about more will be revealed, right? And as you work through these steps, seems to be what happens. If you take an honest and truthful inventory of yourself, and by the way, may I just say that an inventory, you're taking stock in what you possess. If you're like a retailer, the big book kind of talks about this, and you get rid of the stuff that's rotting on the shelf, but you don't get rid of the stuff that's good. So inventory isn't just pointing out character defects or looking at wrongs done. It's also looking at some of your character qualities. And we did some shows on character qualities. The reason we did that is because we spent a lot of time in our 12-step whine and moan meetings sometimes talking about character defects until we're blue in the face. And sometimes it's good to talk about character qualities. So we did a group of shows on those. And we'll do some more later on, too. So inventory can be a balance of things. But for our purposes right now, we're talking about things that have caused us difficulty, have hindered our growth spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And there's, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So it is important to take an inventory of these things. So we're going to be looking at page 63 in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is the 3rd edition. And right after step 3, it says, next we launched. Now, launched is an Air Force term that literally means 0 to 200 within seconds. So some of the mistake that a lot of people make when working with people in these steps is they'll do steps 1, 2, and 3, and you can do those rather quickly. And then they'll say, okay, so see you next week, and we'll start on step 4. No,
never say
no. Next we launch. It's like now, boom, we jump right into it. Now, are you going to be finished with step 4 today? Probably not. Not if it's thorough. But you want to go from step 3 immediately into step 4. If you wait at all, wait between 2 and 3, or between 1 and 2, but don't wait between 3 and 4. You shouldn't wait at all anyway. You should go through them. The step process can literally, it doesn't have to take years. It doesn't have to take a year. Learning how to apply and implement these steps can take a lifetime, because we're constantly learning and we're on this journey. But actually doing your first formal working of them doesn't have to take forever. Now, I've been in support meetings where people say, man, I've been on my 4th step for 16 years. And I'm thinking, who is your sponsor?
Right? My sponsor would not allow that.
So next we launched. And this is launched on what? We launched out on a course of vigorous action. So that does not mean we're sitting on our tushy. Right? The first step of which is a personal house cleaning, which many of us had never attempted. So many folks had never done this before, so this can be a little frightening. Now, I'll tell you the 2 steps we lose people the most at. Step 4, because we're starting to put pen to paper and we're starting to write down stuff that may be very painful. And people get scared and we will lose them. Or step 9, where people are now facing other people face-to-face in the amends process as direct amends, and that can be very scary. Those are the 2 steps that we lose a lot of people at. And one of the reasons that we lose people is because they don't have a mentor, spiritual advisor, or sponsor to help them walk through this. They just read the literature or they hear stuff in meetings, and then they try to do it without any kind of guidance. May I say that there have been folks that have done that successfully.
But it's few.
But it's rare. It is not advisable. The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous is a textbook. It is a book of instructions. It is a suggested program, not a program of suggestions. So you take it as a whole, for it to work properly, if you pick and choose, they say take what you need and leave the rest. Look, you don't know what you need, newcomer. So that doesn't fly. You need to take this whole thing as a whole. And so it says, though our decision was a vital and crucial step, it could have little permanent effect unless, here it says it again, at once, followed by a strenuous effort to face and to be rid of the things in ourselves which have been blocking us. Our liquor was but a symptom. Our meth was but a symptom. The pornography was but a symptom. Whatever it is, where the tail's wagging the dog, is but a symptom. And so then it says, so we had to get down to causes and conditions. Therefore, and whenever it says therefore in literature, you want to pay close attention because that's what it's asking you to do. Mm-hmm. We started up on a personal inventory. This is in italics, was step 4. So what is step 4?
Personally?
A personal inventory. Mm-hmm. And then it goes on to talk about what I talked about, a business that doesn't take any stock and it's, isn't gonna work. And it talks about we did exactly the same thing with our lives as far as taking stock in our inventory. We took stock honestly. Remember, Bill W. repeats himself a lot because he knows we learn by repetition. Mm-hmm. So step 4, made searching an honest moral inventory. He's hitting on honesty again. We took stock honestly. So here's the thing. If you intend now, because you'll do this unintentionally, and there's no fault in that. But if you intend to lie about your inventory, you might as well stop now.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
You might as well stop now. Now, unintentionally, we will tell untruths, or we will minimize, or we will over-maximize.
Yeah.
That's unintentional. But you have to be intentional when it comes to this. So it says, first, we searched out the flaws in our makeup which caused our failure. And here's an important statement. Being convinced, this isn't the first time he said this word convinced. Being convinced that self, manifested in various ways, was what had defeated us, we considered its common manifestations. So remember before he's talked about self, he's going to talk about it again. That our troubles, we believe, are of our own making. That self-centeredness is at the root of our troubles. So here, in step 4, we're going to consider some of the common manifestations of what? Alcohol? Drugs? Narcotics?
Self.
Of self.
Thinking.
Yeah.
So then it addresses the first one. And which is it? You guys know?
Thinking?
Resentment is the number 1 offender.
You're right.
It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. From it, now listen very carefully to this, because this is the only time in the big book of AA the word disease is used.
Really?
Yep. Now, illness is used several times, but the word disease is only used once in the big book, and it's not related to alcoholism.
Oh, that's not related.
It's the only time it's used,
and
it's not related to alcoholism. It says, from it stem all forms of spiritual disease. From what stems all forms of spiritual disease? Resentments.
I had just been teaching facilitating Genesis class, and they said that was the number 1. They didn't touch a lot on resentment, the meaning of it or anything, but they said that is quite often the number 1 reason alcoholics will relapse.
Is resentment.
Resentment, holding them. And that comes in a million different forms, I'm sure.
And they'll relapse, or will relapse, over that before we relapse over an obsession to drink. Mm-hmm. Before we relapse over that tug to put booze in our body. We'll relapse over this.
Yeah. It's that.
Hi, Christy.
It's that nagging.
Christy's got a resentment. That
Christy
nagging,
has a resentment
meowing.
right now.
Did she get a piece of a moon pie?
Oh no, I think
So this is very, to me, and we're going to stop here with this. And I know we just barely scratched the surface of step 4, but this is so important. This is like the step 1 of step 4.
Yeah.
You got to get this to get step 4.
And my sponsor always told me expectations lead to resentment, which leads to relapse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So from resentment stem all forms of spiritual disease, including you, Christy. And then it says, for we have not only been mentally and physically ill, we have been spiritually sick. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the solution. Right here, before we even get into this.
That was fast.
Yes.
We're done.
Well, Bill does that a lot in this book. He'll give you the problem and the solution in the beginning, and then he'll go deeper into it. When the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. Remind you of a scripture verse? Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added unto you.
Didn't Pastor Kelly say something like that like 2 or 3 sermons back?
Probably. It's a really common quoted scripture.
Yeah.
So if your spiritual life is in order, the other stuff falls into place.
Yeah.
You know, not drinking isn't a spiritual solution. It's a great start. Mm-hmm. But our problem isn't, the root of our problem isn't that we drink too much. Why do we drink too much? Because our spiritual condition is way out of whack. Mm-hmm. And so this is the beginning of a process of inventory, of looking into why we did some of the things we did. And next week, we are going to, like I said, we're going to have a Sharon on who's going to talk about the Red Road, the Native American Recovery Program. And it's going to be great to have her on. I've known her for years. Sharon actually was the first person to finance our first trip of taking Take 12 Radio on the road.
Oh, nice.
Oh, like 14 years ago. We went down to the Freedom Festival in L.A., and she paid for that.
Oh, wow.
So she really had a big part in helping to start this station.
Excellent.
Thank you, Sharon.
So it's going to be really great to have her on the show. So, so week after next, we're going to delve into this and just exactly how the big book says how to take an inventory. Because there's a lot of misunderstandings about this. It's very simple.
I last night, I actually went through my own, the first inventory I did. Mm-hmm. And it's just crazy how, like, from then to now, like...
Right.
It might be
it's
simple, but
life-changing.
thorough is the key word.
Thorough is the key.
Yeah.
Thorough is the key. Now, listen, folks. Thorough doesn't always mean lengthy.
No.
Sometimes we can write and write and write and say nothing. And I've read some 4-steps, believe you me, that said nothing about the 4-step.
And sometimes you forget or you, like, grow within the years and you're like, oh, my God, I forgot about this, you know, when I was first doing it.
Sure.
So, like, a couple of years ago, you know, the first time I touched on my ex-marriage, but a couple of years ago, I actually really did a thorough 4-step on it and got all that out.
All those 911 calls there.
Hey.
Those people need to do a 4-step,
I know,
don't they?
do.
See why I do it? Just call 911.
They do, right?
The silent
Can you
cowboy.
imagine a 911 operator going, excuse me, ma'am, what step are you on? Oh, you don't know about them? Well, let me tell you. So some of you may be asking, how do I listen to the shows? Because you may be listening on Facebook and you want to download them or something. Well, it's really easy. You can download all of our shows by going to take12radio.com. That's TAKE, the number 12radio.com, and clicking on the Listen Online button. Or you can even subscribe to us on iTunes. Denver, what else can they do?
You can also follow us on Podomatic and download our app for iOS or Android. Becoming a member of Podomatic is free, and when you become a member of our Podomatic site, you can comment on the shows, click on like button, and we ask that every time you tune in that you click on the follow button. This helps with the demographics, and we can see who is enjoying our show. You can also visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Monty Myers for hundreds of archived shows. All of these methods are available at take12radio.com.
That's right. And if you'd like to email us, you can email us at take12radio@comcast.net. So next week, Sharon will be here with us, and I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a great show. Folks, our closing song. Oh, by the way, I got to give you the secret clue.
The
please.
clue.
Okay, the clue.
Clues.
The clue, the soundbite clue. Remember, you have to include this in your guess. The soundbite clue is Mr. Thick. Mr. Thick. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So that's soundbite clue. So give us the name of the show and the soundbite clue, Mr. Thick. Send it in an email to take12radio@comcast.net, and you'll win the book, Basic Prayer and Simple Meditation, the Recovery CD, and the 35 one-hour workshops of walking through the big book.
I don't have a clue.
Here is the song Banking on Forever by Dave Aaron.
I got a picture of you inside my empty wallet to remind me of how rich I am. Your love is shining like a brand new penny. If you share your love with me, make it 50-50. I'm banking on forever, and it's true. I'm saving up my love to spend my life with you. Let's take the time to stop and smell the roses, for our love is finally in bloom. Let's move away and leave this old town forever. Let's buy a farm with a yard and make kids to play in it. I'm banking on forever, it's true. I'm saving up my love to spend my life with you. Have I worked hard enough to earn someone like you? You're risking everything, investing in us. I'm saving up my love to spend my life with you. I'm banking on forever, it's true. I'm saving up my love to spend my life with you. I'm saving up my love to spend my life with you. I'm saving up my love to spend my life with you. With you.
Dave Aaron, Banking on Forever. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty'man along with the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, and we're wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
Good guys, bad boys, we're all the same. Saved by grace is the name of the game. Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay a burden down.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Cause she's a super cat, she's super kitty, meow.
Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Meow.